Daca Dreamers moving forward, this is Immigration Attorney Parviz Malakouti, and one question that I see from time to time is what happens if a DACA recipient is convicted of a non-significant misdemeanor and wants to renew DACA? Can that person apply to renew DACA? Will they be granted the renewal request? It's a question I see from time to time. It's a good question and one that I see that there's a lot of confusion about. I'm going to address that question in this video. So first of all, let me frame the question for a moment here. So stepping back, many DACA recipients know, and hopefully if you didn't, you know now, that if a DACA recipient is convicted of a significant misdemeanor, that they are then prevented from being able to renew DACA. What is a significant misdemeanor? Now, there's a few different things that qualify as a significant misdemeanor. The common ones tend to be drug-related offenses, domestic violence, DUI. So a conviction for one of those prevents, unfortunately, a DACA recipient from being able to renew DACA. Now, what happens if a DACA recipient is convicted of a non-significant misdemeanor? Something like disturbing the peace or public urination or something else. Can that DACA recipient apply to renew DACA and have it be granted? And the answer is they can apply. They are not prohibited from applying to renew, but they may or may not be granted the renewal. The decision to grant the renewal or not is going to be at the discretion of USCIS. So what does that mean? That means USCIS is going to look at your application, look at the facts of your case, the facts of your life, and determine whether you deserve to have DACA renewed. So is there anything that you can do about that to affect that determination? And the answer is yes. That's what I'm going to go over right now. So what you can do to influence that determination by USCIS is send evidence of positive equities with your DACA renewal application. What's a positive equity? Positive equity, otherwise known sometimes in immigration as merit of discretion or good moral character, basically they mean the same thing, which is that you show that you're a good person, that you have ties to the community, ties to the United States, and that you deserve the benefit that you're requesting from USCIS. So in this case, a DACA recipient that has been convicted of a non-significant misdemeanor, there's 4 different categories of positive equity that you can send along with your application. The first one is evidence of rehabilitation from your conviction. What does this mean? This means that you've taken steps to basically move forward from whatever issue it was that caused you to have that conviction. So if it's public intoxication or public urination, and maybe there was alcohol related to that, even though it's not a drug-related offense, maybe you go to AA meetings, okay? If it was disturbing the peace, and maybe it was something that you did because you had a temper and you acted out, you did something, maybe you go to anger management classes. So that's the first type of positive equity that you can include. If you go to those classes, you have documentation, a completion certificate or something like that, you can send that along with the application. One quick note, I want to make sure it's crystal clear. This type of positive equity has to be above and beyond what is court ordered. So if you were ordered by court to go to one of these things, that's not going to count for a positive equity to USCIS because you had to do that, you were forced to. We're talking about actions that you take beyond that to basically show that you're over the issue that you had that basically caused you to be convicted of that non-significant misdemeanor. Next item for positive equities, letters of support from the community. So if you are known in the community, if you have people that are willing to vouch for you and they're willing to write letters on your behalf, that is evidence of positive equities that you can send along with your application. Now, who should you get these letters from? The reality is anybody who's willing to write a letter on your behalf, you should collect that letter from that person. But as a general matter, the more standing and the more credibility a person has in the community, the more impact that letter is going to have. So if you have basically somebody that's a church leader, a synagogue leader, a community organizer, somebody who's involved in nonprofits, somebody who can vouch for the type of person you are, the character you have, and that person has credibility in the community, a letter from them is going to help. Okay, so that's number 2. That is letters of support. The third type of positive equity you can send is evidence of your community service, evidence of your volunteer work. Now, here on this channel, we've spoken about the effect of volunteer work enormously. Okay, I've made many videos about that. If you are involved or have been involved with any type of volunteer work, you want to grab documentation of that, whether it be emails proving that you did it or a completion certificate or any type of recognition you got, anything like that. And you want to basically make copies of that, send that off as evidence of your positive equities along with your DACA renewal if you have a non-significant misdemeanor and you've decided to apply. That's number 3. Number 4 is evidence that you actually are involved and embedded in your community. So how much does it matter for you to stay in the United States. So these would be things such as showing that you have property, that you have a business, that you are involved in organizations in the community, not necessarily volunteer work. There's a little bit different from what we said as the last item, number 3, but basically that you are embedded in the community. That's the 4th type of positive equity that you can send. So those 4 items are things that you want to basically utilize to send with a Daca renewal application if you have a non-significant misdemeanor. Now, one important thing, a question should always arise whether you should even decide to apply for renewal, okay? Because the reality is that if you apply for Daca with a non-significant misdemeanor and you're denied, that's not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen is that you're denied and then you don't have Daca and you get a notice to appear in removal proceedings, which means you're in deportation court. So for Daca recipients that have any type of conviction, even a non-significant misdemeanor, whether to renew or not is kind of a balancing act. It's a strategic consideration that has to be made regarding whether you're going to take that risk and send it off. For that, you probably want to speak to an immigration attorney. You probably want to have at least a consultation. If not, consider being represented by an immigration attorney for that determination. So anyway, I hope this video helps. If you are a dreamer and you're not in my group, Daca Dreamers Moving Forward, feel free to join that group on Facebook. We speak all about these type of issues. I do my best to educate our dreamers. We have over 1,400 members now and we're growing. It's a great community. So that's it. Hope this helps and good luck.